Hey friends, my name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Ciotti. Welcome to the show. TinyWhoop Wednesday, yo. I'm gonna be finishing. No, I'm not gonna finish it up, but I'm gonna do as much work as I can on this 2.5-inch Cinewhoop over here. This is the Raxus, which is basically a remixed Lumineer QAV Cine. This is the version 1 QAV Cine Freebot edition. They came out with a version 2 of this, which is super similar. Come here, buddy. And but I don't think that 03 fits quite right in them. And so B-Rad down in Florida, come here. He knows I'm gonna grab him. B-Rad down in Florida, awesome dude, great pilot, awesome human being. With permission from the designer of this frame, Ryan Harrell, made his version of it, which he basically just, I don't really think that there are many. Come here, come back, so I can grab you on the other side of the room, buddy. Yeah, there are some subtle changes to this. Yeah. There are some. It's more than just adding 30 by 30 holes in the back for the 03 air unit. There's other subtle changes here. Some of these cutouts are a little bit bigger to kind of keep the weight down. Same thickness, although you can get it in thicker carbon fiber. This is the 2mm thick version. You can get it in 3mm thick, but with this guy is knocking on the door of 250 with the 4S 550 mAh battery that I definitely run. And there's like no resonance problems with this. Because it's a box frame, because of the way that it's kind of set up, it's super, super quiet. So yeah, no, and it also crashes really well because of the way that it's braced, because of this geometry here. Versus the AOS Cine 2.5, that every time you crash it, it breaks, because it basically, it's amazing. It essentially doesn't have this extra piece of carbon out here, And that makes all the difference, because without this piece of carbon, when you hit on any corner, there's no support for the entire duct here. So it just leverages super hard and just explodes the carbon. By not having this extra piece here, though, it is more efficient. So the AOS is typically the rig that I fly until I crash and break it. I haven't crashed and broken it yet, but that's always sort of been the way that I've done things at these events that I fly live. So yeah, this is the old school one with old school Vista, which I've been using for the past 2 years. America Criterium Cup said, actually no, the production company said, hey, we want to try 03 at Anniston. And I was like, cool, you got to cover that cost, because the goggles are $550, the smart controller is $1,200, the air units are like $260 a piece or whatever. And so they did. They rented me one of the smart controllers from Lens Rentals. Can't believe that. I never even thought that. It makes sense, because it's a DJI product used with Mavics. And then, yeah, we're gonna work out the goggles. So, one of you beautiful people let me borrow a set of the goggles, and I told him, like, hey, I've got us covered for this weekend, but if you want to use this moving forward, we got to talk, because these are just basically like on loan, which is super cool. These were sent to me so long ago that I forget who it even was. I remember we were talking on Instagram. But I forget who it was. I need to look them up and give them another shout out and thank you. So yeah, these guys need to be updated and bound and all that fun stuff. And then the 03 air unit. I think we did a little fund here for the 03 air unit. I was going to use this newbie drone naked DJI 03 conversion kit. But I took the top plate off, and there was tons of thermal paste in there. And then I took the next layer of heat shield off, and there was even more thermal paste in there. And then I just kind of went, you know what? This is the heavy one. This is the strong frame. So I'm gonna build another AOS Cine 2.5. If GetFPV ever ships it. I don't understand. I ordered from there 2 weeks ago now, and I still don't have it. The initial problem was my fault. I didn't catch that they didn't have the right quantity, and they said they're going to back order it, and when they back order anything in your order, they back order the entire order. So that was kind of on me. I didn't see the warning. But then once we got that straightened out, I don't think they shipped it. I think there's something going on their side. So yeah, I still don't have it. So thank God I started building it in this frame rather than waiting for that AOS Cine to come. So yeah, in the AOS Cine, so as long as 03 works, which I'm sure it will, I'll do another build, or I'll transfer the existing AOS Cine build over. I'm definitely gonna keep one of these Vista carrying rigs together because of how well the Vistas handle low light. So like this Anniston event is perfect because I can drive to it. So for this event, I'm bringing everything, and if the 03 system doesn't work right, I can just go back to the old standby that works totally fine. In the future, I won't bring both unless like one of these events has one of the main heats that goes really deep into golden hour. But I doubt that. They kind of know that. Yeah. Although there is an event that wanted to hire me last year. They didn't end up having the budget. That the entire event, it's called a twilight criterium. The whole event is in the dark. And so if they hire me this year, 03 won't cut it. So I do want to have at least one Vista set up still put together for that. But I assume after this is, I assume that it's going to be all 03 moving forward. Hey, here's a real quick, cool little thing that CMYK-FPV figured out, and then I copied the other night. This is the little case that you get from Newbie Drone with their frames. This is what the Cockroach 65 V3 frame comes in. And what CMYK realized you can do is just take like a little dollar store torch and get the top of this thing. So you put your quad in there, and then with this thing opened, you just sit and you get the top really hot with the torch. Start slow, do it not enough, and then yeah, and then get it a little bit hotter and a little bit hotter, and eventually you'll get it hot enough that you then pull it down, you then and close it, and the hot plastic molds up and over, and you've got an excellent little carrying case. Unfortunately, they don't stack. It ends up sitting up too tall, and you can't really stack two of these things together. But you can like drop them down in your flight bag, and it really protects the rig. The only thing I'll say is that if you run an antenna sticking out the canopy like this, it pushes the antenna down. But then you can just push it back up, and you're fine. But yeah, really, really, really cool little thing that CMYK figured out that you can do with these cases. Yeah, it makes the plastic get all white, which is kind of funny. But yeah, it took me 3 passes. I sat there with the torch until it was somewhat hot. I pulled it down over the canopy. It didn't really do much. I got back on it with the torch, got it a little bit hotter, pulled it back down, and then the third time I really got it. It just every time I brought the torch a little bit closer, and then the third time I really got it warm. And it was just like super easy. It just worked. So yeah, do it. If you need these cases, I have a bunch, but that's kind of silly. Buy yourself a Cockroach V3, Cockroach 65 V3, and you'll get one of these cases, and you can kind of make your own. I'll use this to ship something at some point. Ship a TinyWhoop. So yeah, that was super cool. I think I saw him. I saw a picture of him. One of the ones that he'd made. I was like, what is happening there? So yeah, that's what we're gonna do tonight. We're gonna work on this Raxus build, Q&A, of course, and I'm gonna try to fly 6 batteries as well. In the chat, Hockey Rounds was first, Timmons was next, Doubles FPV, Frank Nicholas, Troy Prelog, Curtis Hayes, Four Little Pigs, Douglas Otwell, Bo Weber, Gusto FPV, Northern Tier, Matt Norton, Raging Leet, Curtis Hayes, Kilo Zebra, Beef FPV, Riot 9, Stavel, Smoking Dog, Cujo, 661 FPV, Prop Junkie, Tongue Out FPV, Parkour Guy, Ram Donko, Walter, Nasty, I haven't seen you in a while, Nasty, hopefully you've been good. Scotty Scott, Matt Trombley, Shaken Whoop, Mr. B. What's up, everybody? Thanks for coming. If you want to talk to me directly in the chat, all you got to do is type CiottiFPV. When you do that, it'll light up in orange. You can do that with each other. If you want to get Ram Donko's attention in your chat message, just type RAM space DONKO. And for Ram, his name will light up in orange. This is my full-time job. Today is Wednesday, April 10th. If you want to support me on the crazy adventure that is trying to do FPV full-time, head on over to CiottiFPV.com. There's a million ways that you can support me here. As it says, Patreon helps me the most, but there's also an Etsy store, Fiverr, where you can work one-on-one with me, Teespring, where you can get some fun apparel, and then a whole bunch of affiliate links. PayPal button if you just want to send money directly, but you don't want YouTube to take 30%, which they do from Super Chats. And then a whole bunch of affiliate links, yo. Replace all of your bookmarks, or if you're like me, and when you go to Amazon, you just type AMA into the URL bar, you can, over here on the right, in most browsers, there's a thing where you can remove that suggestion that it's making for you when you type AMA. So remove all of the suggestions for Amazon, Race Day Quads, oh my god, Brain 3D, whatever. And then all you got to do is come in here and just click my affiliate links a bunch of times. Once you've clicked it, once you've removed those suggestions and you click my links a bunch of times, from then on, if you type AMA, it's going to think you want my affiliate link. And every time you go to that affiliate link, it's going to reinforce that for your browser, or just change your bookmarks. This is the easiest possible way for you to support people. It makes a huge difference. It's free money. You can still get free shipping. You could still use coupon codes. It has nothing negative to do with you. It just helps us out, keep making cool content for you. So help us out and we'll help you out. How's that sound? here's a link to the Raxus. I'm dropping it into the chat. It's over on CNC Drones website. It's going to take about a week to get to you. Here's where you can change the carbon fiber thickness. If you're not desperate to stay, look, if you're not going to be flying this around around people and or like for professional stuff, right? Like if you're going to build one of these for funsies, I would maybe go to 3mm thick carbon and just don't worry about sub 250. The build itself, dry, will still be under 250, and there's probably a battery somewhere that you could use that would keep it under 250. But yeah, I mean, if you're just flying for fun, the whole 250 thing doesn't really matter. No cops are carrying scales around with them. It's just yeah, you'll be alright. So yeah, really cool frame. I mean, I'm super familiar with it because I built the QAV Cine a couple of years back, and I've been flying it a ton. I have kind of a cool way of building it that I'll show you guys in a little bit. Basically, I put the I almost built it. I almost built it this. There's a scream upstairs. I almost built it different this time. I was going to just do the 20x20 ESC and then the flight controller on top of it on big, tall screws like I do in a lot of the freestyle builds. That is not how I built this one. So this guy is built with the... So you've got your... It's a pusher. And you've got your motors on the top plate here. So what I did is I did the motors and then the ESC mounted to the top plate here. And then the flight controller and everything else are mounted to the bottom plate. The only problem with this build in doing that is that the antenna is mounted to the top plate. Well, both antennas are mounted to the top plate. And the VTX is screwed down to the bottom plate. On this one, I've learned the O3 is on the... Well, you know what? I'm actually going to reverse it. I'm going to change this one. Right now, I have the O3 on the top plate, but then the antenna is going to mount to the bottom plate. So I'm actually going to reverse it. And I'm going to mount the... That will actually help with the wire length problem I've got. Cool. So yeah, I'm going to reverse this so that top plate is going to have the motors and the ESC, and then the bottom plate is going to have the flight controller, the O3, the antenna mount for the O3, and then the receivers and the antenna mount for the receivers as well. With this guy, when I crack this thing apart, I have to pop the antenna off every single time because the VTX and the receivers are on the bottom plate, but the antennas are up here on the top plate. Kevin Sumner very kindly printed me the 3D print stuff for the Raxus, and the bottom plate of the Raxus is where the antenna mounts. So yeah, on this one, I'm going to do it a little bit different. I didn't realize that the antenna mount... I was so used to this one that what I was going to do on the Raxus, until I realized this 10 minutes ago, is I was putting the O3 air unit on the top plate because that's where I thought that antenna was going to go. And then I'm setting it up using JST plugs. So on this guy, the only real plug is from the ESC to the flight controller. And so when you pull these apart, you just unplug that one thing. On this guy, it was just going to be the two. It was just going to be the one plug again, but it was going to be the plug going to the O3 air unit. But yeah, instead of that, I'm going to do this one the way that this one is set up. Cool. That's good. I'm glad I realized that. Because that's a really nice setup. You unscrew a whole bunch of screws. The biggest pain in the ass with these box frames is that you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 screws that you got to take off to get 11, 12 to get the top and the bottom plates. But then once you do that, you unplug a couple JSTs and you've got your ESC on one side, your flight controller, and everything else on the other side. It's really handy. this Raxus is actually going to be even better because yeah, the antennas are going to be on the same plate as the as everything as what they're plugged into. So yeah, rad. I love it. I also switched motors on this build for the two existing ones that I've got. I'm running the T-Motor 1404 4600 kV motors, which are fantastic, and I actually might end up putting those motors on this if these different motors don't end up working out. But I am trying the Axis Power Cine 1405 4500 kV motors. They are super notchy, which is why I'm kind of worried, but I'm going to give them a shot. I like that they're a little bit bigger. This is going to be heavier with the O3 air unit. And in Denver, I run out of power on these rigs with these motors. I think it's a kV issue. I think if these motors were like 5,000 kV, I'd be okay. I believe that the stator volume is enough and that these motors are not getting too hot. But yeah, the problem in Denver is that the air density, the air is really thin because it's like 8,000 feet above sea level. And then the location that they run these races at is very windy, and it's just a big flat field that the wind just comes blasting across. So those two things together are a bad combination. And I kind of run out of power with these guys. But I'm playing around on this build, on this Raxus build, I'm actually using an Acon 35 amp ESC that's meant for 5-inch rigs. And I'm going to play around with 5S and 6S and just motor limit these things down. So like in Betaflight, I'm actually going to have 3 different PID profiles, one for 4S, one for 5S, one for 6S. And each one of those profiles will motor limit a different amount. The 4S profile will be at 100% motor limiting. The 5S will probably be like 90%, and the 6S will probably be about 80%. So as you go up in kV, as you go up in voltage, 4S to 5S to 6S, it's going to motor limit it down a little bit, but it's still gonna make significantly more power going up the ladder there, 4 to 5 to 6. Which is what I want. I want to take a look at like what these things fly like with a bunch more power, and also what happens with the runtime. There's a chance, I guess, that up on 6S I might get a little bit of extra runtime. I've never seen that. I've done this testing before, and I've never seen on smaller than 5-inch freestyle rigs 6S have noticeably more runtime. But we'll see. Only one way to find out. That's to do it again, damn it. So yeah, we'll see. That's sort of the plan. That's what's going on with the Raxus. It was actually almost all the way put together. But then I just, as with the flight controller and the ESC just set up as a stack, and then I changed my mind because I realized I was going to have to mount the receivers to the other plate that I was working on, and I'm like, well, the receivers are hard soldered to the flight controller, so now it's like every time I want to take this thing apart, I've got to take the receivers off. If I don't take the receivers off, I got to take the antennas off. I was like, you know what, to hell with it. I'll pull the screws, find the right length screws for the top and bottom to mount the flight controller on one side, ESC on the other. So it'll basically be ESC on the top plate with the motors, and the battery right on the other side of the carbon, and then it'll be flight controller on the bottom plate with both receivers. I'm setting this up, as I've done with these other ones, to have both Crossfire and ELRS. At these events, they're using, there's like a multi-million-dollar TV truck there with mega antennas all over the goddamn place, just blasting. And then they're using wireless mics. The cameras on the corners of the racetrack are using wireless systems. So the RF situation at all of these events is brutal. And so, yeah, at certain events, I've had very strange crossfire fail-safes. And yeah, that got me to put Express LRS on. I think this is the first one that I did it on. And I haven't had to use it yet. I haven't had to switch over to, like, the the first year that I did the Denver event, it was really bad. But see, I was not only having crossfire failsafes, I was also having the DJI video link was a mess. I could only go half a block away before the DJI video link at 1.2 gigawatts was starting to get all blocky and freeze. So there and we were right next to high tension power lines, so I'm assuming that's what was going on with it. So yeah, I don't think ELRS would have helped in that scenario, but whatever. The ELRS receivers are super cheap. You just hook them up to a different UART and you just don't turn that on in the ports tab unless you need to. And I'll bring my little plug-in SpeedyB jobber, and yeah, I can switch the ports over there if I have to. But hopefully Crossfire works, because that's what I'm set up for, and it's just like last minute shit. I don't, I'm gonna bind ELRS and I'm gonna make sure that it shows up in the receivers tab and whatnot. But yeah, hopefully I don't have to use it. So that's kind of what's going on. The Raxus is great. It's, it's an established frame from a brilliant frame designer, Ryan Harrell, just remixed a little bit. So I mean, there's no reason that it wouldn't be awesome. But yeah, if you're looking for a 2.5-inch Cinewhoop that can absolutely be built to be under 250. You can even carry a naked GoPro with this and still keep it under 250, or O3 air unit. This is a good one. And then you can get the QAV Cine from GetFPV is going to come with, I don't have them up there anymore, I forget where I put them, but little pieces of foam that you can put in here, which is a really cool setup to slow this thing down. What the reason why I chose these box frames is when you look at the side profile and the front profile of it, there's lots of airflow going right through here. So this thing really cuts through the wind nice. But because of that, and this is true with pretty much all rigs that have prop guards rather than proper ducts, the fact that it cuts through the air really nice is great if you're chasing somebody going 30, 40, 50 miles an hour. But if you're trying to do slow stuff, this is actually not what you want, because it's going to just want to go. You want more, you want a worse aerodynamic situation so that it's like a brick and it flies more slowly. That's going to allow you to put the nose down more without going super fast, right? Like a rig like this, you put the nose down like 2 or 3 degrees and it's going to start booking. And so you're going to have to fly this thing super flat, and when you fly super flat, all of the thrust changes your elevation. So when you fly really flat, you tend to get a lot of elevation bounces, and you got to really crank the shit out of your throttle expo to get that under control. Whereas if you have a worse aerodynamic situation, some blockers on the front, blockers on the back, or you're just flying a rig with full-size ducts, you can really put the nose down 20, 30 degrees and it won't start hauling ass. And that is going to spill a bunch of the thrust rearwards. It's not just sending all of the thrust downwards, so you get much better throttle resolution. And it also just makes it track better, right? Like set up like this, if you turn, it's just going to want to keep sliding. Whereas if you've got something blocking this off, it's going to be like a brick aerodynamically. So when you turn, it's going to stop and just track much better. The Raxus, you do not get those blockers. And I also didn't see any blockers on... I thought there would be some on Thingiverse, but I didn't see any. There is a thing on Thingiverse that is almost like a blocker. It's a big strip that goes around here, and it's for putting LEDs in. So you could absolutely use that. It doesn't block the entire width here like the little foamy guys do. But it blocks about half of that. So you could absolutely do those if you wanted to slow this thing down a little bit and just run them without the LEDs in them, or hell, put the LEDs in them, whatever. But yeah, really, really cool frame. Shout out to Kevin Sumner for 3D printing me some stuff, man. Very, very cool. It hasn't arrived yet, but it'll either be here this afternoon or tomorrow, and I'm not done the build yet, so it's fine. The timing worked out. Nasty tagged me in the chat and said, maybe you can help me out with a little problem. I'm having stack screws get super hot on one of my 5-inch rigs, and I can't figure out why. So more than likely, your ESC or your flight controller are passing voltage through those stack screws. You want to try to isolate those. That's kind of the only thing I can think of. So run some kind of like a rubber grommet on your flight controller or ESC so that it's not... Every once in a while, a flight controller or an ESC will send voltage or ground into the mounting holes. It's really dumb, and nobody should still be doing it. But yeah, I don't get it. So that's the only thing that I can really think of, and I'm kind of surprised it hasn't blown up yet with that. But yeah, the Vista, I think the Vistas actually do that. So yeah, isolate those. That should fix the problem. Jay Hines says, "What's up?" Bora says, "If you had to have only one quad for the rest of your life, which would it be?" Just one. I guess one of the glides. These are just so... They just fly so good, and you can do so much with them. Like, you can fly them like a Cinewhoop. Hell, you can even buy 5-inch ducts and bolt them on. Big enough to pick up a GoPro, maybe even something bigger than that. And the flight characteristics of 5-inch rigs are just completely unmatched. So yeah, it'd be a 5-inch glide, 2306. Yeah, it would have to be that. Just again, because it's so versatile, you can do everything with it. You know, a TinyWhoop you can only do TinyWhoop things with. Cinewhoop you can only do Cinewhoop stuff with. 5-inch mini quads are the jack of most trades. You could probably even pick up like a DSLR with the damn things. It's gonna be tough, but you could do it. Freeloader dropping the Patreon link. Thank you, dude. He also says, today B, I actually remembered for a change. Michael W. Blade says, hey. Striker says, a little late. How's the stream been? It's good, man. Jay Hines says, for freestyling outdoors / building dives, if I was to put my Mobula 6 into a 75mm frame, current motor is EX0802, 19,000 kV. What do you recommend upgrading the motors to? Thanks, dude, for your insights. I have not found the perfect motor yet. Although, well, if you're analog, I'm going to make an assumption that you're analog. I don't see it there, but if you're analog, wait for the iGao Special Edition TinyWhoop motors to come in. They are 802, 27,000 kV with a 1.5mm motor shaft. On an analog rig, those are the end-all, be-all. I'm still figuring out what the right motors are for the Walksnail rig, so more to come on that. But yeah, if that's an analog build, that's what I would do. Unfortunately, they're not in stock right now. But Kevin Sumner said, did USPS get the TPU to do that? Otherwise, I need to bug them about a refund. They did not. Not yet, at least. Although it's 8:30 here, so yeah, they're not gonna. It's not gonna get here. Danish Stallion's in the house. What's up, homie? How you been? He says, what up? Good to see a Raxus build. Yeah, man. I've had a tab opened with the Raxus in it for Jesus. Actually, on my laptop, I've had a tab opened to the Thingiverse with the Raxus to remind myself for like 2 years. Brad told me about it at Rampage 2 years ago, and I pulled it up on the laptop when I was there, actually, because I bring the laptop with me, and that tab's been opened ever since. And it was inevitable that National Cycling League / America Criterium Cup would say to me at some point, like, hey, can you upgrade to 03? And yeah, they did a couple of weeks ago. So here we are. Danish, hopefully you got here early enough to hear me rant on and on and on about how I'm setting mine up, because I think I'm setting mine up a little bit different. I'm definitely setting up different than the build guide, the brilliant build guide that Brad did. And yeah, I've had on my QAV Cine, I've had a bunch of different kind of setups, and I've really found the setup of ESC on the one plate, flight controller on the other plate to be really, really, really nice for like serviceability. And it flies really well that way too, right? You've got nice short screws for your flight controller. You don't have like these big long 20mm screws and then your ESC and then your flight controller. As long as you put, you can totally do that as long as you put like a nut on the bottom of that tall screw, those 4 tall screws to keep them from wiggling about. But you know, doing it with the little tiny short, just having the flight controller bolted directly to carbon is really, really nice with nothing stacked on top, short screws. It's a really, really cool setup. And then you end up with a little gap in between the flight controller and the ESC here. So if the ESC ever gets really hot, it's going to cool right down. Yeah. Super cool little way to build it. Very unique that you can build, you know, box frames are a pretty unique style of frame. And they're kind of the only frames that you can build like this. So, like, you know, why wouldn't you, to some extent? Striker says, "What do you think of the Avionrc?" Well, here, hold on. So I'm gonna mash through the chat, and but at the same time, I'm gonna be screwing shit together because I need to get this done, man. I'm just horrified that I'm just finishing this build now, but I've been waiting on parts, man. I really did try to be better prepared than this, but it just took forever for a bunch of parts that I needed to get here. And ACC let me know pretty late. Well, the production company let me know pretty late that we were going to go this route. I didn't think they were going to. We talked about it months ago, and then they went quiet, and I was like, okay, I'm just using the regular rigs. It's fine. And then all of a sudden, it was right about exactly 2 weeks ago, I think it was two Wednesdays or 2 Thursdays ago, that they were like, hey, we finally got approval to do this. I'm like, fuck. But I would rather them do it now and me have to rush through this and then drive to Anniston with all my gear. And if something weird happens, it's like, perfect, I got my other gear, rather than them flying me out to Denver and something happens there, because I'm not trying to fly with 2 of the you know, the old school and the new school screens, 2 sets of goggles, right? Well, 3 sets of goggles. I bring both sets of the old school DJI goggles in case one goes down, right? Like that would just be a nightmare trying to bring all these different setups. So it's good that that we're doing it now. It's just I'm super annoyed to have that's 3 days before the event and I'm still waiting on certain parts to get here from GetFPV. Yeah, if I'm gonna fly a rig professionally, like I usually try to have 20 to 50 batteries through it, just to make sure that, like, you know, because when you build a fresh rig, you have no idea if that ESC is gonna blow up right away or a couple batteries in. Once I'm at like 20, 30, 40 batteries, I feel a lot more comfortable flying a rig around people, and getting paid to do it too. So, but can't always get what you want. Somebody should write a song about that. Strager says, what do you think of the Avionrc Nexa 3.5? Never heard of it. Well, I can already tell you by the fact that it's a 3.5, I don't love it. 3-inch rigs are the way to go. 3.5-inch rigs are too big of a propeller for anywhere near, come on now, anywhere near 250 grams. If you're going to build like 350 grams, 3.5 is going to feel right. But yeah, 300, 250, 220 grams, 3.5-inch rigs are awful floaty. And you don't get that 5-inch experience. You get more of like a toothpick kind of experience. Some people like that. That's fine. But for me personally, yeah, it's not my deal. It looks like it has a solid base plate, which is a kind of a total deal breaker for me. I mean, this is a school bus style frame. There's really kind of no excuse for it to not have removable arms in... Oh, it does have removable arms. Cool. All right, so that's good. Practically no motor protection, which, yeah, that's super annoying. You're gonna, if you crash hard around concrete, metal, whatever, you're gonna mangle a lot of motors. Every single time you crash at this angle, all the way running around to this angle, the motor is gonna take the full hit and it's just gonna explode. So yeah, you're gonna go through a lot of motors with this frame. That's unfortunate. That's an oversight by so many companies that makes a massive difference in the actual user experience. When the engineers are designing the frames, sometimes what they realize is that removing carbon from the ends of the arms gets them a lot better flight performance, because the weight out at the end of the arms has to move the maximum amount of distance on pitch, roll, and yaw. So this is a great example of a frame that was, designed by an engineer or just folks that don't fly or don't crash. As soon as you put this into the hands of somebody that crashes a lot, they're going to just mangle motors left and right, and they're going to get really frustrated. Again, this is pretty common, but it's 2024, fellas. Let's be a little bit better. Although, actually, all right, there is a little bit of motor protection here. So there's that one picture shows me this nub, which has pretty much no motor protection. This nub is a little bit longer, and this is what you want to see. You want to see this really hang out past the motor bell as much as possible. I would still like to see more than this, but this is actually way better than that. And you can get away with just doing it on the corners like this. I prefer it to be on both, because if you come down totally flat on the side, you're going to hit the motor bell. But again, the engineers want to remove as much weight from the ends of the arms as possible, and this is a way to do it. And putting it here, it's going to protect you on corner 45-degree angle hits, and then some side hits and some front hits. So yeah, we're starting to see that more and more. Looks all right other than that. I mean, it's super hard to just take wild stabs at this stuff. I mean, there's any number of things that they could have done wrong with this frame. I also, I can't see a lot by these pictures because it's built. It looks like the carbon fiber is going the correct direction on the arms. That's great. Yeah. Looks all right. Big TPU front piece. Not bad. It's a shame it's not a 3-inch frame. 3.5-inch frames are kind of a dime a dozen at this point. All up weight without battery, 172. Yeah, nothing wrong with that frame, I don't think. I'd love to see a little bit more motor protection, but I feel like I say that about pretty much every frame that I look at this point. I'm just super spoiled by the FPV Cycle Glide having loads of motor protection and it saving me hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of dollars in motors, because every time you slam really hard and you eat a motor. Well, with the Glide, it's perfect because you slam really hard and then you look at the end of the arm and the little devil horn, one of the little devil horns is completely mangled, and it's like, if that wasn't there, the motor would have been what hit that concrete and the motor would be done. So you get to see with the Glide frame over and over and over again how often it saves your motors. Danzilla says, what's up? Freelojo says, Curtis Hayes above. Curtis Hayes says, my house is south of Denver, and I'm at 6,500 feet. I use high-angle props. I flew in Texas one time, and I had so much more control. Energy for days breathing that thick air. Yeah, the in 2.5-inch propeller land, unfortunately, there's not many prop options. I use the most thrusty ones that are available, which are the oh god, the Dow. I'm sorry, not Dow. Oh god, what's the company that makes those swept wing propellers? Here, all their propellers look like this. What the hell's the name of that company that makes the propellers with this blade profile? If you're ever wondering, these are the most efficient and the most thrusty 2.5-inch propellers. So yeah, and with 2.5-inch, there's a serious lack of power. So pretty much those are the props that you want to run. Somebody has already typed in the chat the company that makes them. You can still find them. They don't make many propellers anymore, but I think they are still around. God, I can't remember the effing name of the company. That's driving me insane. I'll think of it without looking at chat to prove to you guys how smart I am. One of the things I don't like about this frame is that they use slots for the 20 by 20 holes, and the problem with that is it's really hard to get, like, sometimes when they use the slots, the all the way out slot position is perfect 20 by 20. In this case, it's not. And so you have to bring these screws, before you tighten things down, you got to bring these screws in on the slot just a little bit, and you got to try to see if it's like lined up. One of the other ways to do it is to put the flight controller in there, and I'm going to actually show you that in a little bit. But yeah, that's one of the things I'm struggling with right now. But we'll get there. We'll get there, man. This will get done. Basically, the move is to tighten these up and then just back them off a tiny little bit so that they will move in the slots. Like, they're tight, but they're not wobbling all over the damn place. And then you drop the flight controller down into them, and then you can try to crank them tight from the bottom. Sometimes the nut won't bite. Sometimes it will. And so, yeah, just tighten them up a nothing amount. And then, yeah, you can come back later when you have your flight controller set. Oh, man, like an hour ago. So in Ireland, there's a group of car guys that run a YouTube channel I've been watching forever called Drift Games. And a couple of hours ago, they put up a video called Everything Is Gone. And the video was their entire shop burning to the ground. They've spent like the last 2 years moving to this massive, incredible new spot, huge warehouse. They poured like everything into it. And they had all their drift cars there, all their builds there, all their production gear there, all of their footage there, because they're a YouTube channel, right? And yeah, it burned to the ground, yo. So back up your footage. If you have footage that is important to you, make sure that it's backed up off-site somewhere, because yeah, that's like memories, right? That's like your life that gets lost, and it sucks. But yeah, brutal, man, just brutal. I just, you know, they had all these project cars in there that they've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours tied up in that are just gone. They just finished up a 2JZ Lambo, that all that was left of it, because it was kind of crazy to see the cars with steel body panels that were like ruined, but they still looked like a car. But then there were a couple of cars there, like his Corvette drift car and then the Lambo, that were either fiberglass or carbon fiber body panels, and the cars just didn't exist. It was just a pile of shit, and then like the engine would be sitting there, and then like any like one set of frame rails on the Corvette, and like that was it. It was just like horrifying. But like, so like the Lambo, since it's pretty much all carbon fiber, it was just an engine. It was just like a burned up husk of an engine just sitting there, and just a pile of everything else of just nothing around it. Crazy to see that. I never thought about that, but yeah, super sad, man. They're nice guys. They're a little bit. I'm not super into drifting, but I like some drifting content, and they're really nice guys. But they do the like everything is the best thing, and they're a little bit overly dramatic sometimes. Especially like with their thumbnails. So like over the years, I've had to like take breaks from them, because like, yeah, that gets a little bit frustrating, but they do great work, and they're super nice guys, and their builds are phenomenal. So yeah, that sucks, man. Brutal, just awful. BLD0550 says, I can sure print out some TPU for you if I can get some dimensions. What were we talking about at 8:30? I don't remember what we were talking about at 8:30. I don't remember what we were talking about 3D printing wise at 8:30. So tag me again, BLD. Let me know what you're referring to, and yeah, that's kind of you though. Regardless, I appreciate it. Nasty FPV says, thanks. I'll swap the gummies and add some grommets analog quad. Swap the gummies and add some grommets. To me, gummies and grommets are the same thing. I think maybe you've got just little rubber donuts on there, perhaps. Yeah, you want to run grommets so that it's rubber touching that metal screw rather than metal on metal. Striker says off topic, but what should I get for my first car? I'm between Accord and an Acura TL. I would do the Accord just because it's going to be way cheaper to run than an Acura. I mean, they're both Hondas, but Acura parts will have Acura tax on them. So yeah, I would just stick with the regular old Honda Accord. Absolutely nothing wrong. The Honda Accord is arguably the best car ever built in terms of like a car. It's not the most fun. It's not the best platform to build a race car on, but it's potentially the best car ever built. YouTube did the thing. I lost my place. Trying to find my place. Martin Tanley says, what are those mini screens called that give you video feed instead of using goggles during the building phase? I don't know if they have a specific name. It's just a little monitor. Little FPV monitor is what I would call it. I just use my goggles, though. Frank Nicholas says, have you seen Nick Burns or Infinity Loop videos about BT 3.0 for 2S? Batteries are 6 to 7 grams lighter. I haven't seen their videos about it, but I've been interested in BT 3.0 since I first saw it. I just don't really have any rigs that are on 2S that I'm like actively flying at the moment. But I almost, it's funny, on one of these orders from last week, I almost threw a bunch of BT 3.0 stuff on the order to force myself to do a build with it. But I just, you know, I realized how much this build was going to cost, and I was like, nah, I got to cut a bunch of shit out. But yeah, at some point I'll be on that BT 3.0 train. The bulk of the weight that you lose is from not having a balance lead, which is just like, yeah, awesome. Love it. Striker says it comes in a 3-inch Nexa 3 Evo. I would get that, dude. Get the 3-inch version, in my opinion. Frank Douglas says Azzy, almost Azor. There it is. Freelojo called it Azor 661 as well. Yeah, the Azor 2.5-inch propellers are the ones that you want. Cinewhoop, if you want efficiency and power. Cinewhoop says, I've seen 5 and 6 blade props on Cinas. What difference do those make compared to tri-blades? The main reason that people do them, I think, is for noise. They're way quieter. But the added benefit is that you get more power. Unfortunately, you get less efficiency with them. But in a lot of cases, a tri-blade, you won't have a motor that you can turn a high enough RPM to get the amount of power that you need out of. So in a lot of cases, you kind of have to run 5 or 6 or even 8 blade propellers on these Cinewhoops that are picking up heavier cameras to get the thrust out of them. And then the added benefit is that it doesn't scream like a dying animal. So yeah, the where the efficiency thing becomes a non-issue is when you're running actual ducts or a bigger prop guard. Where the inefficiencies in propellers occur is at the tip of each blade of the propeller. So if you've got a physical barrier, and the reason that it happens is that you've got a high pressure zone below the propeller blade and a low pressure zone above it. And so at the tip of the prop, those two mix. And when they mix, they don't mix perfectly cleanly, and you get a little bit of turbulence. So the issue is the mixing, right? And so if you have that propeller coming around, but then you put a piece of plastic out here, and if that piece of plastic is tall enough, like a proper duct, a lot of the prop guards don't do this, but like in a proper Cinewhoop with a real duct that's like this tall, it's going to isolate those high and low pressure zones, so you can run a 100 blade propeller and you won't have nearly as much of an efficiency loss because it's blocking those high and low pressure zones. So yeah, on a proper Cinewhoop, you can get away with running 5 or 6 blade propellers and not taking that big hit in efficiency. I don't run 5 or 6 blade propellers on these guys, on these 2.5-inch rigs, even though I would love to get the extra power out of them, because of how inefficient they are, because these box frames do not have a physical barrier right up against the tip of the propeller to segment those high and low pressure zones. I've done a bunch of testing with 5 blades on these 2.5-inch rigs, and the power is great, and the PID loop works really well having access to that much power, but the efficiency goes completely out the window. And at these gigs, efficiency is really important because I'm trying to stay up in the air as long as possible. And yeah, like with those 5-bladed propellers, I can only get like 1 or 2 runs. I mean, it depends on the layout, it depends on the air density, everything. But yeah, I'm up in the air for significantly less time. And then that snowballs into I'm charging through the batteries quicker, and then I get behind on charging, and then there's a point where I won't have any batteries charged. And I'll just be sitting there waiting for the chargers because I'm blitzing through the batteries so fast because the rig is inefficient. So yeah, these rigs for these events are like a really cool little engineering challenge of like, how do I get enough power, stay below 250, but also enough efficiency to stay up in the air a lot. You know, at the Anniston events, I can bring my big boy charger, and it's not that much of an issue because I can drive there. But the rest of the events, Miami Beach, Denver, and then there might be another location or 2 this year, I'm not sure. I'm flying to those events, so I'm not wanting to bring a mass. I bring 2 smaller chargers, and I just pare all my gear down because, yeah, I hate checking bags. God forbid I check a bag and they lose all my stuff. That'd be like, that would just destroy me. Good question, brother. Curtis Hayes says, Dalprop Nepal props work well here. They are swept wing. Yeah, that's right. Dal did make that in Nepal. The problem with the swept wing propellers is that when you bend them, you can't bend them back straight. Because of that swept wing design, it never bends back properly. So like pretty much every crash that you hit hard enough to bend a blade, you got to take that propeller off, and man, that gets old fast for me. BLD0550 says foam inserts. Ah, okay, gotcha. So yeah, the foam inserts are cool because they don't weigh anything. Printing them out of TPU, they'd be super heavy. I didn't have Kevin Sumner print me the LED guarded things because I knew they would be super heavy. I appreciate the offer though, dude. But yeah, for personally, they would need to be foam to stay under 250, and just for the flight performance of this to not suffer really bad. Yeah, having a TPU guard around these things would be brutal. CMYK says, howdy! Off-Axis says, really great to see you watching the stream last night, bro. It was a fun night. It was indeed. Yeah, Off-Axis' stream, there was a shitload of people on there, and they had Super Deluxe as their guest, and I was building the entire time. I gotta tell you, it was really fucking nice to have a live stream on while I was building. Now I get it. I'm always the one streaming while you guys build. And like, I assumed that it, you know, I've always been like, yeah, that's a great idea. But last night is one of the first nights that I got to have that experience. And yeah, it was nice. It was also nice for somebody else to be streaming instead of me. Timon says, does your tuning approach with TinyWhoops apply to 5-inch rigs as well? Absolutely. Yeah, I tune pretty much everything exactly the same, because Betaflight is just so good. You don't really have to go hard on tuning anymore. You can just push as much D-gain as possible in. There's a little bit, there's sometimes a little bit more magic in the filter tuning on 5-inch rigs. TinyWhoop filter tuning is like hysterically simple because of how high the RPM is that they turn, and so you end up like really not needing to do anything with the filtering. On a 5-inch rig, the filtering works really good as well, mainly because like it's designed for it, right? Like Betaflight is pretty much designed for 5-inch rigs, but yeah, sometimes certain frames will have like a resonant frequency that you'll that the dynamic filters won't be able to kind of get a handle on. So yeah, there are some scenarios where it 5-inch tuning is going to be a little bit different, but the main ethos of push the D-gain slider over to 1.2, fly it, make sure the motors aren't hot, 1.4, and then push the P&I slider over to 1.2, fly it, make sure the motors aren't hot, so on and so forth. That approach works with everything. I'll use that same approach with this rig. I do it on all the 5-inch rigs. Although I actually have a bunch of 5-inch rigs that are still on beta flights old enough that they don't even have the sliders. Back in the days where I used the actual numbers to tune. So yeah. But that, that tuning method, like sliders be damned, that tuning method is basically just push D-gain more than P&I gain, because it's what does the bulk of the work in terms of like handling bad aerodynamic situations, bad flight behaviors, whatever you want to call it. But don't push it too far. Like, you have to chase the P&I and then chase it with P&I at some point. And then, yeah, just like pushing the gains up. Like, push the gains up until the motors get hot and then back them off. Like, we've been using that tuning philosophy for a decade. Nowadays, we've got in the current version of Betaflight, we've got the most sophisticated filtering of all time. And lots of other little things here and there that help with specific bad behaviors. But yeah, tuning a PID loop to work with quads has always sort of been, if you're in the know and you're trying to get it to handle prop wash, D-gain, just get as much D-gain in there as you possibly can. And yeah, the reason that we're chasing it with P&I is out of necessity. Like, if I could just add D-gain and leave the P&I's stock, I would. But you just can't. It just doesn't work like that. So yeah. All right. So I'm caught up on chat. Let me just focus on not having this O3 air unit fallen apart. And then I'm actually going to head over to the bench and do the rest of this work over there. But just hang on one second. I want to get these screws nice and tight. All right. All right, cool. So that's good to go. I'm now going to mount this to the other plate. So I'm going to mount this to the bottom plate, right? Yeah, I'm going to mount this to the bottom plate. The other thing about the Raxus is that the plates are symmetrical front to back, which freaks me out because on the other one they're not. And so like I keep not trusting that, and I keep like looking at this over and over and over again to try to find something different between the front and back, but I haven't been able to find it yet, and I've stared at it a bunch. This is me nervously staring at it again because I'm about to bolt this thing down. So yeah, I'm gonna bolt this thing down. I was about to say in the back, but it doesn't really matter. Syncopad, you got to type CiottiFPV. How do you output your video in events? DJI goggles to the $1,000 stupid ass DJI screen with thumbsticks, and then in that you run an application called FPV Live View, I think it is, and then that goes HDMI out to the TV truck, and they take it from there. Okay, so this wire needs to now go up and over. I want to put this facing the rear, and I got to be careful because I took the screws out that hold this plate on, and so it's the plate is trying to pop out of there. So that's why I'm being a little bit weird with this right now. But once I get this screw in here, we'll be okay. And all right, so we're good to go. All right. So let me just keep screwing things in. I am going to get over the workbench in a minute, but since I'm sitting here and you guys can kind of see what I'm doing, I'll just put another couple of screws in real fast. I am a little bit worried that I'm not going to be able to get to the USB port on this thing because the way that I'm mounting it right now, but I don't know. Hopefully it'll be okay. Why is this screw fighting me? Oh, no, we're good. Walter says it's a Rhine canary? What the hell does that mean? What's Rhine canary? What's a Rhine canary? I'm probably saying that wrong. Syncopad says, I think tagging doesn't work on mobile. Thanks for the answer. We use wide FPV and HDMI out from a laptop. It won't on a on mobile. It doesn't predict the person's name, but you can still type it out. And you actually don't even. So on mobile, don't even bother with the @ because it's not going to do anything for you. Just type somebody's entire name, and it will actually work. Because it did work this second time that you did it. Re-in canary, not big bird. What? What's that mean? Curtis Hayes says, I've tagged you 2 times, but no response. Maybe it doesn't work. I haven't seen a tag from you, Curtis, unless I didn't scroll up far enough. Yeah, I don't see any tags from you, Curtis. I don't see where you... I see a whole bunch of posts in the chat from you, but I don't see anywhere you typed CiottiFPV. Try it without the @ That's weird. I'm reading all your... everything I can see from you in the chat. And yeah, I don't see CiottiFPV anywhere in there. I am on live chat, so that should be showing me everything. Very weird. I see where you tagged Martin Tanley. I think I saw you tag somebody else too. Oh, there. No, you tagged me once and you said the Dalprop Nepal props, and it worked. It worked in that comment, but I'm not seeing any other one. I'm not seeing any other ones where you typed CiottiFPV. So you either spelled it wrong or I don't know. I don't know what could have happened. But yeah, I only see that one. Walter says no drugs. What? All right, cool. And for the record, these screws that I'm putting in, I have already Loctited. On any builds that you're going to use for work, for the love of God, Loctite everything, friends. Please. Don't be that guy. Don't be that guy that ruins it for everybody. Live by those words, yo. There we go. All right, cool. So the O3 Air unit is now on the plate that's going to have the flight controller and all the other stuff. Curtis Hayes says was using predictive tag. Weird, man. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was predicting it and then deleting it. I don't know. But yeah, in your comment where you said was using predictive tag, it's working there. Yeah, look. It's working there. It's working there. But if I scroll up, so right, like, if I scroll up through, none in that one. Here's Walter tagging you. None in these 3. None here. None here. There's one. There's the down the pop comment. There's where you tagged Captain's Calgary. None there. None there. None there. None there. None. None. There's one. So, I don't know what happened. Okay, so it's bench time. I was moving that chat for a reason, and it was because I wanted to come over here. Syncopad says, I read having DJI goggles 2 and above, you output 1080p instead of 820 from the V2. Yes, that is why this production company wants me to move to 03 for the slightly better quality. Although I to be honest, the one thing that they really didn't like, I have to launch this application, is the OG stuff is like very blue. They would have a really hard time matching colors. I mean, they're matching colors with like $100,000+ really fancy sporting event cameras. So I mean, they're asking for an awful lot. But C922, C920, here we go, and auto, there we go. Thank you, Logitech, you shitbags. So yeah, there's that. Look at that squid just standing up there like, oh, I'm a walker from War of the Worlds. See, there's a War of the Worlds video game coming out that looks horrifying, but really cool. Matt Norton says, I just changed my props and used the popper and had no issues, but I noticed it seems louder now. What could cause that? The only thing I can think of that can cause that is a bent propeller. Did you, when you were putting the new props on, did you maybe bend one of the props? Or did you use a different propeller? Some propellers sound different than others. Some are louder than others. Okay. This is the plate that gets the flight controller. So let me I've already got the motors and the flight controller all soldered up. This is what, for the record, friends, if you're going to use a build to make money, this is what it should look like. This is not me like, this is like kind of a safety thing, but like, look, do it right. Do it the right way. Take the time, get everything perfect, use lots of flux, like everything should be super neat and tidy, in my opinion, no bullshit. If you're going to use a build, flying around other people, making some money, make it super clean. It's your... Look, most of you probably build clean anyway. This right here, this is your excuse to build ultra clean. You don't ever need to feel bad about building clean if it's going to be like any kind of a working rig. Or just, it doesn't even have to be a working rig. Just if you're going to fly around people, for God's sakes, take the extra time and make something super pretty. It's your chance. It's your one chance. Let me actually go back to the top plate with the ESC, and I'm going to show you what I mean. So these this center 20x20 plate, right? It's got slots. I don't really know why it has slots for these, because usually when they do these slots, the outward position is for 30x30, the inward position is for 20x20. I guess in this case, since the outward position is 20x20, the only real option is that the inward position is 16x16. But who the hell's going to run 16x16 in one of these? That seems insane, but whatever. Yeah, so tighten them down, get them rough, not tightened, but almost tightened, and get them like roughly where they need to be, right? And then take your either flight controller or your ESC and drop it down, and what you'll be able to see is that the certain holes will not line up quite right. See that top left one? See how it's out towards the outside of the grommet? Same thing, and then the top right one is out towards the top right. So that needs to get fixed. You don't want that, because that's going to like preload those grommets, and they're not going to be able to do their job when they're like that. So by having these things loose, you can just, a little bit loose, you can just kind of come down here and just push them inwards until you get it just right. And then you can kind of crank them down. I'll show you. So these are grommets that are M3 in the center. So you're going to use these little M2 to M3 brass adapters on them. So now you just screw these guys down. You don't have to screw them all the way. Just get them most of the way down. And then you put that ESC back on. And you'll kind of see it. I'm using nylock nuts, which kind of make this a little bit of a pain in the ass here, but I don't know, we'll see. I wish I hadn't used nylock nuts here, but I wanted the extra height. I wanted this thing to be 3 millimeters off the deck because you got to use these for your battery strap. This is the top plate, right? So the battery is going to sit here. So I got to use these strap slots to hold my battery on, and then the ESC is going to be right there. So I wanted that extra little bit of height for the battery strap to go through. All right, so now that I've got those guys on, let's put this in here. And so now, why won't that go? Get on there, you little shit. Okay. All right, so there it is. So now it's on those adapters, and it's gonna kind of center these by itself, but just you can just kind of sit here and get them to the point where they're in just the right spot. They're not too far in, not too far out. This one's a little bit tight, so let me just come in here and back it off a little bit. It's not moving quite as freely as I need it to. And yeah, see, the problem is these damn nylock nuts. I usually use these little 2 millimeter, it's basically a cut down standoff, but they're only 2 millimeters tall, and I wanted 3 millimeters here. I should have just put a 1 mil plastic spacer on top, but I didn't. And so now I'm stuck doing it this way, which is going to be a little bit annoying. I'll show you why. It's just that those nylock nuts don't like to spin, right? So, all right. So now I got this guy evened out. And so you're just going to sort of move it around a little bit. And when you look straight down, you can really see if these things are too far out or too far in, they're going to be preloading those grommets, and you don't want that. So just squish them around a little bit, get them to the point where they need to be. And then what you want to try to do is push down on the ESC, and you're going to hope that the rubber grommets grip on the little nuts that you're using, and then you can come down here and just try to crank it down, and it's not going to work. These are fresh nylon nuts, so they're just going to spin on these. Yeah, it's just going to spin the nylock nut underneath the rubber. But what you can do is just kind of like look at where the screw head is in relation to the slot now that you have it properly centered. And I can see that there's just the tiniest little bit of an air gap on the outside of the slot there. So that's all I really need to know. Now I can pop this off, and they don't have to be perfect, especially because it's an ESC. It really doesn't matter for an ESC. But what I can do now is just get it roughly where it was a second ago with just a little bit of a gap there, and then come in here and crank it down. We're going to pay more attention to this on the flight controller, but on the ESC, I'm just going to get it roughly close. And yeah, now I've got that tiny little bit of a gap there, and rinse and repeat. So push it all the way out, and then back in a little bit. I'm having a hard time seeing. Okay, all the way out and then back in. Man, it's nice to do builds while someone else is streaming too, and I can just like focus on what I'm doing. And like take breaks and stuff, and yeah, that was fun last night. Always fun hanging out with Super Deluxe as well, of course. All right, so I got 2 of them cranked down. Let me just check it. And so looking straight down, that looks centered. That one's out a little bit far. It could be because of the opposite side. Nope, it's just out a little bit too far. So I'm obsessive with these builds, so I'm going to fix that. I'm not going to leave that. And yeah, it looks like I can see that it's out a little bit too far. So we'll back it off a little bit. And then just... Actually, what you can do is, once you have them tight, if you push and twist, it'll move just a little bit. And that's perfect. Now I can see the little bit of the outside of the jib jab. So yeah, we're good. 2 more to go. What's up, Bob Noxious? How are you, dude? Matt Norton says, different props went on with no struggle, so pretty sure I didn't bend them. Just sounds more like a vibration, like when the bearing is dry and loose. Well, I mean, there are certain TinyWhoop propellers that are not balanced at all. So it could be that the whatever the props that you put on might not be well balanced or balanced at all. They might. It sounds like they're not as well balanced as the propellers that you had on there. So let me guess. You probably had Gemfan 1210s or 1610s on, which are super well balanced, and now you're running something different. Is going to be my guess. So yeah, there's nothing that's as well balanced as those Gemfan biblades, unfortunately. Yeah, that's the move, actually. Get it tight and then spin it while you're pushing on it, and you can very easily move it around a little bit. That's that works really, really well. So get it on here. Crank it pretty tight in roughly the right spot, and then turn and push to get it into the perfect spot. And there we go. That's it. And now we're going to check it one more time. Again, this is going to make a much bigger difference with the flight controller, but might as well do it on the ESC as well. And now I can see, looking straight down, this one is out a little bit too far. Let me show you. But the other 3 are perfect. So that one looks good. See how everything is centered? That one looks good, nice and centered. That one looks good. This one is, see how it's out? It's a little bit far out. So I'm just going to pull that one in a little bit. But that's what you want it to look like. You want it to be perfectly centered there. That's ideal. This is pretty damn close, but not quite right. On the flight controller, that really, really, really matters, because if you preload, like this one screw hole has preloaded and squished that grommet, and so now it's almost like hard mounted because of that one grommet, and that is not a great thing. It's not the end of the world, but it's something that ideally you want to take care of. All right, there it is. That moved just the tiniest little bit, and that's all it really needed. I'm gonna back off these brass guys just so that they are perfectly, well, oh shit, I did this out of order. All right, so here's another thing to know. If you're going to use these nylock nuts as your spacers, understand and know damn well that the nylock nut, it narrows down where the nylon is, and the rubber grommets will actually slide right over that. So you need to use some kind of a spacer, which is what I'm about to put on here. And sorry, not a spacer, a washer. You need to use a washer. You need to use something to prevent the rubber grommet from just sliding down over that nut, because then you could have a situation where the ESC touches the base plate and explodes. So we're going to take these guys off, and then I'm going to grab some of these super, super, super thin little washers here, little M2 washers, drop them on, and now that'll keep the grommet from sliding down, and it'll keep it sitting up real nice. It drives me crazy that they're silver, but the grommet sits right up next to it, so you don't even see it. All right, so there, and then these little M2 to M3 adapter collars actually kind of hold them on, which is really nice to prevent the little washers from falling off. William Loesch says, what scenario are you using this build for? I have a gig coming up for a local outdoor ultra marathon. Going to use my Cinelog 35. I want something more quiet and smaller. Outdoor ultra marathon, that sounds like you're going to be flying above people, in which case you need to be sub 250 unless you put in for an exemption, which is probably going to get shot down. Yeah, so that is a big part of these builds, is the requirement to be sub 250, since I'm going to be flying above. I mean, what's really interesting is I could probably get away with flying whatever the hell I want, because I'm technically not above, like, I'm not flying it above the general public. Ideally, I go from my spot to the racetrack, and the racers are all kind of considered crew. Like, they're on the event's insurance, and they're like participants in the race. They're not just random bystanders, right? But you know, there's always the chance that I will end up above the crowd, and so that's why. And I moved this thing in too far now. I got to pull it back out. Yeah, there'll be the chance that I have to. I mean, yeah, there'll be the chance that I end up over the crowd, and just, you know, God forbid something happens. I want to hit somebody at sub 250 rather than 300, 400, 500, whatever. But yeah, so these are being used for chasing cyclists. They cruise at around 20 to 25 miles an hour, and then they burst up to like 30 and sometimes even 40 miles an hour. And so these rigs are kind of perfect for that. My payload, though, is just DJI. I don't have any kind of a HD camera on this, which makes staying sub 250 with good runtime and being able to haul ass when I need to a lot more realistic. To carry around a naked GoPro makes this whole thing an awful lot more difficult. Not impossible, but more difficult for sure. So I'm lucky that they don't ask me to do that. On the one rig, on the AOS Cine 2.5 rig, I do have a little TPU mount for the Insta360 Go. But one of the cool things about this build is going to be that the O3 Air unit will collect footage that's arguably better than the Insta360 Go, although I kind of like the way that Insta360 looks. Bob Noxious says, more prints to send you. No hurry, brother. I am super busy for the next, like, 5 or 6 days. So, yeah, no hurry whatsoever. Curtis Hayes says, I posted my shadow banned comment to General Nonsense. Ricardo Ferreira, I'm getting behind on the chat. Ricardo says, Jesus, it's 9:30 already? Oh, man, I'm super behind. Hold on. McShaky says, look at my screenshots above. Okay. I was saying, DM me if you want my number just south of Denver. Probably run your repair parts if needed. Oh, very cool, dude. I don't know when the Denver event is. And then, missed my comment. End up needing something. That's weird. Why did it? What the hell? I live in Castle Rock, Colorado. If you need, awesome. I appreciate it, Curtis. That is very weird. I have, wow. YouTube gonna YouTube. That is super weird, man. That I have absolutely no idea. I have no control over any of this, you know. So yeah, that's super annoying. Wow, I'm way behind on chat. What the hell's happening here? Is it stuck on top chat or something? Is it not doing live chat? It says live chat. All right. Syncopad says, did you try another solution for outputting DJI goggle feed, Axis Box? Yeah, I mean, for O3, there's the Cosmos streamer, which apparently works really well. but I don't like that there's no screen on that because it can freeze up and shit. And I just, yeah, I don't want to have to call into the truck every single time I change a battery to say, hey, do you guys have video from me? So yeah, I told them that it had to be the $1,200 thing with the screen. I didn't even give them the option of buying me a Cosmo Screamer. Curtis Hayes says, CiottiFPV, I was using predictive tag. Off Axis says, mods and you can right click on people's comments to see 3 dots to open up their channel activity. Easy way to see all their messages in the chat. I didn't know that. That's pretty cool. Channel activity. Look at that. Good call, dude. Matt Norton says, no, we got that. Ricardo says, how hard is it to drill a carbon frame? Is it recommended or not? Thanks. Not very hard. I try not to do it because they design the frames to be strong for the holes that are there. But if you have to, yeah, you'd probably be fine. Bob Noxious saying hello. William Loesch, oh, we got that. So yeah, William, I'm using this to chase cyclists, and then like before the races, after the races, I get like, you know, glamour shots for Deb, glamour shots by Deb of stuff. It's a cool gig. They've had me do 3 or 4 events every year, last year and the year before, and they love what I do. I love working for them. It's pretty awesome. I'm a lucky guy. All right, so this is the plate with the motors. There's going to be one cable going from this ESC up to the other plate with the flight controller on it. And I think maybe that's it. I think all this plate is going to have... Oh, no. So this plate is also going to have... No, it's not. Yeah, no, this is all this plate's going to have. I need to get an XT30 on here. I'm going to do that after the stream. The XT30 is going to go run over, and it's going to go through this hole here. And yeah, that's about it. So this plate is good to go. Obviously, I'll bolt these motors down, use some Loctite, and away we shall go. So that plate is pretty much good to go. This is actually the bottom plate here. And so now I'm going to have to do the similar kind of thing with the flight controller, but I need to switch the grommets out. I use these grommets that are really tall on one side as spacers when I had the flight controller up on the same stack as the ESC. But in this case, yeah, I'm going to use a shorter grommet because I don't need all that space. I just need this thing to clear the carbon fiber. Matt Norton says, Gemfan 1219 tri-blades are what I had put on, had Azzy props stock that I took off. Okay, so the Azzy props are actually very well balanced as long as you don't bend a blade when you're putting them on because they're so fragile. And the Azzy props are also very aerodynamic. So yeah, that's what's going on there. The Azzy props are very, very, very quiet. They're just so fragile that like, for me, they're kind of unrealistic to use them. So yeah, that's what's going on there. Different props. Yeah, propellers all sound subtly different. And you're getting a first-hand example of that right now. That is totally normal. Annoying, but totally normal. Okay, so I need some M3 to M4 grommets that are not as tall as these red bastards. I think I'm just going to use like regular old grommets, but they need to be big enough. So I could use... Nope, these white ones are not good. Nope. So these are all the tall ones here. So I'm going to go into this bin here and see if I can find 4 of these little red ones here. Do I have a matching set in here? Does that look like the same one? Yeah. Come on. Give me a 4th. Give me a 4th one. Is that it? Are you the one? Right in there? Is it you? Nope. Those are different thicknesses. Damn it. Okay, so I'm just going to pull all of the red thick ones out of here, and I'm going to have to line them all up. There's another one. Jesus. Some of these are so thin that... I don't know. God damn it. Okay, that looks like I've got all the wide red ones. I might be able to just tell by standing them up. Okay, so those two are the same. That one's the same. I just want four that match. Okay, there's four that match. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sometimes what'll happen is like flight controllers or ESCs, they'll come with 5 rubber grommets. So I'll end up with like 1 extra. And it's always like the one that I want to run. Yeah, see, these are all kind of sort of mismatched. All right, so then the last thing I'll do is lay them flat on the desk here, and then bring my head down even with the table, and make sure that they are the same height. And yeah, we're good. These are 4 of a kind. All right, cool. So we'll put those into the flight controller here. Syncopad says, question, GetRc Cinelog frame or AOS Cine EVO? So the Cinelog and all of those styles of frames, I refuse to run them around people, mainly because they force you to use an AIO, and I'm just so much more comfortable using a 20x20 stack. Sometimes I feel like I'm in the minority there, because I see so much flight footage from other professional pilots running rigs that are very obviously on AIOs. So you're probably fine with AIOs, with the Cinelog, for example. But for me, it would be the AOS Cine, even though it's super fragile. So yeah, but again, that's just me. I have so little trust in AIOs, and I just hate dealing with them. I hate it when anything on it breaks and then you have to replace the whole thing. It's really expensive to do that every time that anything lets go on it. But I don't know. I'm slowly coming around to the AIO thing because they are doing a better job building them now, and they do seem to be at a point where they are kind of, I'm not going to call them durable, but they don't seem to fall out of the air all that much. So yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm probably being overly cautious, but hey, rather be overly cautious and not hurt somebody and not be that guy than to have some shit fall out of the air. It also like looks really bad, you know, regardless of like hurting somebody. The filming world is pretty tight knit, and so if you have a rig that falls out of the air, everybody's going to find out about it, and it's a really bad look. You know, I mean that could be your last job ever. So I always really, one of the I forget who it was, but one of the pro pilots I follow on Instagram posted a conversation from a producer that was gonna hire him, and then he was too expensive, and then he just got some local jackass, and the local jackass slammed his rig into the windshield of a Lambo and did a bunch of damage. And then so the message conversation is him like, hey man, we're on set right now, we need you, we just sent this other idiot home, what would it cost for us to get you out right now? And he was like, you know, I told you this, and now you're gonna have to pay me double for drop everything and come out rates. And so yeah, there's that. But that's life, I guess. I'm sure that every single industry has to deal with that. So that's not like unique to us. It's just, I think that the stakes are a little bit higher for us. You know, like we got the fucking FAA breathing down our back. Like we can really hurt somebody, right? Like you get one of these hung up in somebody's hair, or yeah, you hit them just right. Like yeah, it's we got to pay attention to that shit. We owe it to ourselves to be overly cautious, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah, and I mean, I've had producers say to me like, we were looking at somebody less expensive, but we remembered working with you last time, how conscious you were about safety, and we decided it was worth it to pay more for that. And like, that's actually one of the biggest compliments that I've ever gotten. Because, like, yeah, you know, it would be way easier to just Wild West this shit and just YOLO! Let's bounce off someone's face, whatever, they'll be fine. FAA says I gotta have some sort of a prop guard. Well, look, yeah, I've got a piece of paper on the outside of the propeller. That's fine. I'm FAA legal. Your face is a bloody mess, and you're not going to be able to work for the next 6 months while it heals, but, you know, whatever. I'm cool. I'm YOLO. I sent it. You can't get mad at me for sending it. I'm just here to send it. I came on set and I'm sending it. What I do every day, all day, I just send it every day. I wake up and I send it. I go to the bathroom and I send it. All day, every day, bro. I'm just sending it. I'm here to send it. I'm put on earth to send it. God looked down and he said, you know what? I'm going to put this person on earth to send it. This is going to be my send it guy. He's going to say send it 8,000 times and sound like a complete jackass in front of everybody over the age of 16. But you know what? He's going to be super cool and he's going to be real successful on YouTube, because for some reason people on YouTube say the same stale ass bullshit 1,000 fucking times and nobody calls them on it. You want a rant? You got one. If you ever want a rant, that is a guaranteed. I cannot believe people are still saying that. What is wrong with you? Stop saying it. It's obviously old and moldy. Stop saying it. Fucking hell. Oh my god, it wasn't cool 6 months ago. It's certainly not cool anymore. For fuck's sake. Stop choosing your vocabulary based on morons. There's a whole bunch of people that I just, like, horrendously offended. I'm so sorry. Say whatever you want. I'm not a cool person. I'm an old person. So, you know, maybe send it is still cool. It's not, but say whatever you want. If it makes you happy, still don't say it, but just don't say it when I'm around. How about that? If it makes you happy and it doesn't piss me off, go right ahead. But in this case, it's obnoxious. Look, I'm looking out for you. I don't want the cool kids to be like, man, that guy's still saying send it. What a fucking square. I'm helping you out. I'm trying to help you here. If you don't want my help, you're gonna get my help anyway. Send it. Jesus Christ. Send it. Just the fuck up. Fucking send you to the morgue. Send it. Ooh, bro, I'm just sending it, bro. Ooh, ooh, I'm just sending it. Ooh, oh, hi, Dad. Curtis Hayes says, did you curate that kit of grommets and standoffs or buy it? What you just saw is 7+ years of hoarding, basically. Yeah, that is just like every single ESC, every single flight controller I've ever bought. I've just not thrown anything away in the packages. And I just, you know, I test so much stuff that like a lot of components get opened up in here. So yeah, that's mainly what that is. Although some of them have been purchased. The trick that I show you guys about surfing through an entire website as often as you possibly can, this is sort of one of the results of that. If there are on most websites, they'll have like 1 or 2 sets of grommets for sale, and they're like $2. So every single time I do an order, I pop into the hardware section of the website and take a look. And if they have grommets, I just buy them, because what's an extra $3? And eventually you have a million, and you can color code them and or find ones that are the absolute perfect height for your setup, and you only spent a sum total of like $30 to be able to do that, and that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's what you're seeing there. Okay, so this is not wanting to sit down, probably because one of these is too far out, maybe? Nope. All right, yeah, one of them is too far out, though. Two of them are actually too far out. And they're these back ones. I knew that was going to be the deal. These front two are perfectly centered. Again, let me just show you guys one more time. So that guy, you got to look straight down on him. That guy is good. That guy is good. That guy is not. See it? You can really see it there. That is not good for the flight controller. And then this guy is same deal. He's too far out. See that? So I need to pull both of these back ones in. This is why I don't like the slots, because it makes this so much more difficult. If you just drill straight holes in the frame for 2020 and you drill another set for, I don't know why this is set up for 16 by 16. Who the hell is going to run 16 by 16 in here? But I mean, whatever. Yeah. One set of holes for, in my opinion, one set of holes for 20 by 20, another set of holes for 30 by 30, and that's it. Screw 25 by 25. On this frame, though, they do have 25 by 25 holes, but you rotate the board 45 degrees. So the 25 by 25 holes are out here, which is great. All right, let me get these guys pushed inwards a little bit. So we're just going to put on here. I'm going to take my fingers on this side, and I'm just going to push inwards while I'm tightening this, but it's on a nylock nut, so it's just spinning. But that process of it spinning allows me to push it over a little bit. And I am pushing over with the driver as well. And there we go. I see a little tiny bit of daylight. And now I'm going to come to this one. I'm going to do the same thing. Pull it inwards while I'm turning it. Turning it just allows it to kind of like walk in the little hole there. One of my favorite songs by Pantera, actually. Also. And that's looking good. I do need to push this first one down just a little bit more. There we go. That's the stuff. I just saw it move ever so slightly. So now, let's just check it one more time. Oh, and I pushed him too far in, didn't I? Son of a bitch, I did. I pushed him too far in. God damn it. All right. Just a little bit back out, and then we'll be good. All right, that was a little bit. And then I think that was a little bit. Let's check it one more time. Hey, there we go. Just need to push this one a tiny little bit, and then we'll be perfect. Okay. Pull out. All right, that should be it. I'm just going to assume that that's... fuck it. Perfect. All right, good. Good. Peace and love FPV with a $4.20 Weed number super chat. Thank you so much, dude. He says, "Send it, just don't crash, man. Just don't crash." That's it. The whole "just don't crash" thing, I don't think it's actually as obnoxious as "send it." I think "send it" is peak obnoxiousness at this point. Could just be me though. It's been a little bit quiet because I forgot. This is a very direct. I'm not used to using directional mics. That should sound better. Johnny then says, "I was waiting for CiottiFPV to say the kid was on the escalator again, like the guy from Mallrats." I do not like this is gonna piss a bunch of you off, but I do not like Jay and Silent Bob at all. That they, and I never have, they always came off as like the corniest motherfuckers, and like I get that that's like their deal, but like I don't know, I've never liked that. It's mainly the skinny one, Jay, right? Yeah. I don't like it. I think he's the most obnoxious person on earth. I don't think he's funny. Yeah, I don't know. I can't watch anything that they do because of him. It just makes me want to scream. But you know, who the hell am I? They're some of the most successful filmmakers of all time, and I'm in my basement building toy helicopters. So, you know, they win. Crispy says, should TinyWhoop pusher configurations be avoided? Was considering building a 75mm Walksnail pusher with 1102 22,000s. Any part recommendations? I think the pusher thing is interesting. Like, it shouldn't be, but in some cases, it's a little bit more efficient, which is great. I think the biggest problem with it is that the propellers sit so low that, like, anything can block them, and then you can't take off. And it's just, like, from a practicality standpoint, it just doesn't make a whole lot of sense, I guess. Admittedly, I am curious about it. I am curious if you could do... and I think one of the big problems is, like, nobody's really done it. I mean, people have like kind of half-assed it, but there's not like a solid frame setup for it, right? So I think that's why a lot of people avoid it. But yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Pusher is a thing. I don't like it. But so these box frames, for example, Ryan Harrell actually tested these box frames set up for pusher and puller, because all you got to do is swap on the other one, all you got to do is swap the camera mount upside down. And he was as shocked as anybody about this, because puller, in regular aeronautic theory or science or whatever you want to say, the more important area is under the is the low pressure zone. And so you want to optimize the low pressure zone and have as little obstructions as possible. But for some reason in quads and in this box frame, that was not the case. And he saw 20% more efficiency with this QAV Cine set up as a pusher rather than a puller. And then he tested it again and again and again and again and again, because it just didn't make sense. But yeah, it's super, super, super weird. That should not be the case, but it is. And you kind of can't argue with that. I've got this thing slammed low enough that I really want to pass this O3 cable underneath. But if you're going to pass a cable underneath like this, you got to be damn sure that it's not sitting up against any of the components. And I think, yeah, it is. It's the way that you test that is by wiggling it back and forth. And when I do that, it won't move on the back part here. So I need to run this over, which is not the end of the world, but yeah. I kind of wish I'd run 1mm longer screws in. Actually, there aren't 1mm longer screws. There's only 2mm longer screws. And yeah, no, this is fine. This is good the way it is. Okay, cool. So that's there. I gotta figure out where I'm putting some of this stuff here. So like this is the height of the standoff. Oh yeah, plenty of room for a receiver back here. So I think I'll put one of the receivers in the back here, and then the other one somewhere up in the front, like maybe here. Loop it around like that. Yeah, that'll work. Or maybe I put them both up front. Let's see. How could I do that? Yeah, so that can sit up like that. So I could do that one and then this one on top. Yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. Have the whole communications package sit up front here. But then I got to make sure I have enough antenna length. So here is crossfire antenna. So if this is hooked up there, yeah, that ain't long enough. Okay. I do have an extended crossfire antenna, but it's like stupidly long. Okay, so yeah, I think I am going to put the crossfire up here on the back like that. Yeah, I guess that's what I'll do. And then the ELRS I'm running up front because the ELRS antenna is going to be down low. And so they're kind of short. So it'll be underneath, and then I'll run the cable up, loop it around. Yeah, that'll be fine. That'll be fine. All right, cool. So all those wire lengths should work. I'm going to use the short one of these, regular one of these. CMYK says, shawing? What's shawing? What's that mean? CalRow says, CiottiFPV or anyone else, what size and length of screws do I want for mounting a Walksnail VTX on a Whoop? I know it's been mentioned before, but I can't remember. M1.2 by 12. M1.2 by 12 is what you want. And I have a bunch. If you just need 4 of them, I mean, you can buy them on eBay and get a pack of 50 or whatever, but if you just need 4 or 5 of them, if you buy something off my Etsy store, and then in the notes, or just message me, go to my Etsy store, find something else that you want, find like a couple of stickers or something like that, and then just message me, tell me what you want, and then I'll just throw them in the package for you. Man, I really wish I could run this under. I do not... Fuck. I do not like having this cable up over, because it's going to get really busy in here, because I'm going to have the plug for the... Well, you know, let me actually do that now. Let me see how this is all going to stack up in here. So... Here's the plug for the flight controller. Okay, pins up. So this is going to fold up like that. I'm actually going to untwist this for the time being. All right, so plug upwards. Jesus. Oh my God, that's tight in there. Holy shit sticks. Okay, hold on. Who is completely horrified that I don't like Jay and Silent Bob? You can be honest. They're terrible. They're talentless hacks. No, they're obviously not. I just don't like them. I don't find them to be funny at all. It's just like, and like, you know, like The Office is cringy, right? Like there's cringy stuff that I like, but there's a point where I'm like, no, man, like this is just, it gets into like this corniness. You know what else I don't like that people are often shocked about? Fucking Canadian show that everybody likes. Kenny, Kill Kenny, whatever the hell it is. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. It's just, it's not funny at all to me. It's like forced and just, yeah, I don't like it at all. This isn't too bad. This is okay. This guy can come up and over. In between, we got some extra cable on him. He's gonna sit like that. Yeah, okay, so this will actually be fine that this is going up over top because it's got all this extra cable. William Lish says, what do you think of the QAV Pro Nano? Is that the 2-inch one? I don't like it because 2-inch propellers take a massive hit on efficiency. And so, yeah, I do not like that rig just because it's set up for 2-inch props. They did it so that they could keep it under 250. I understand why they did it, but yeah, it's a deal breaker for me. The whole 250 thing. Sorry, the whole 2-inch thing rather. Steve Jobs says, can you add prop duct / protectors to a Freestyle quad to make it a Cinewhoop? You can, but it's going to be, I mean, on the 5-inch rig, it's going to be absurdly heavy. Off Axis says, me. Thank you, dude. I knew it was one of the people that I loved. but of course I have a hard time remembering things. I don't know why that's of course, but Right9 says put it under. I did that over my ESC over laziness and it cut through. Seems the O3 cable is pretty fragile compared to regular. I can't. I literally off axis says on subs. I can't. There's not enough room under there. I would need to take all 4 of these screws off, run a thicker spacer. Yeah, and I'm not all about that. The other thing I got to be careful of is the length of the screws on the top. I gotta stay short on these screws because on the top plate, on the top plate, I've got these screws here, and these guys are gonna be like face to face. So I got to keep these screw lengths kind of as short as I possibly can. So yeah, kind of annoying, but whatever. That's life sometimes. Okay, so this guy can sit like that. I mean, I could maybe put both receivers back here. Just put them side by side like that. Just VHB them down. I could do that. But I mean, I have this spot. I am going to try to run the camera on the inside here. In the instructions, they have you running the camera mounts out the front, hang the camera like that. But I'm going to try to put it in here. We'll see. There might be ducts and it might pick up these things, in which case I'll just put it on the outside. But yeah, damn, I wish I'd used the one wire bundle on the one and the other one on the other, so I had enough room. But we gonna be all right. We gonna be all right. And then this guy, so yeah, this guy is then going to come up and over here. So I got to manage this. So I think maybe this. All right. So Crossfire is going to be back here, I think. Oh, wait. What if I put this sideways? What if I put this sideways? So some of the things I'm thinking about is like, what if I need to get to the bind button? What if I need to swap an antenna? Okay. So if I put it like that, the antenna will be long enough. Oh, balls. I just remembered. I now remember why I had the... fucker. I now remember why I had the DJI air unit on the other side. It's because the antenna mount pushes forward. Oh man. Oh, I'm gonna have to take this apart and okay. God damn it. Yeah, I'm gonna have to take this apart and put this O3 air unit back on the other plate. The antenna mount that I'm using takes up the space that this thing is taking up. Oh, you big dumb man, you. I didn't think about that. That's okay. That's just pulling these 4 screws, pulling the 4 screws on the bottom and just swapping them. That's not the end of the world. And there's a chance that having it mounted to this plate, I wouldn't be able to plug the USB-C in. Oh, you bastard, you. Danzilla the Terrible says, CiottiFPV is just Ted Ply soft. And then Stephen Woodruff says, just cry a little and move forward. Balls. Yeah, okay. Well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that on camera. That's it. I'm going to go get a bite to eat because I'm hungry. Take a couple deep breaths and waste a bunch more time. This is, this is trying to get a build perfect on the first hit. I would rather spend 10 hours to get it absolutely dead right on the first try and just be able to service it moving forward rather than like having it half-assed in some way and then rip it apart and reorganize it. Thanks for hanging, friends. Wait, no, 6 batteries. Hold on. Ah, this will make us feel better. Oh, God. This will make me feel better. Let's fly a little bit. I got a couple gates set up upstairs. Let's fly a few batteries. This will cheer me right up. I'm not going to do 6. I'm going to do 3. We're going to fly the Ultimate Freestyle TinyWhoop with the 0702 32,000 kV motors. And then we're going to wrap things up. Oh, this is good. This will be a perfect little break. All right. This is an old battery. Let's run this first. Kind of get warmed up a little bit here. Here we go. This rig has the HQ YOLO props on it. Let's get it. Come on, ELRS. Connect. Connect, you bastard. There it is. Oh, boy. Wow, this feels weird. It's the battery. I was going to say, man, this thing usually has good power. It has nothing right now. I guess this battery was just not charged. That's weird. It was in the charged pile. Let's see if the one right below it is charged. I have 3 on the charger, so we'll be fine, but a little stack of batteries here that I could have sworn was charged. Fart. Off axis here's that the Avata is a good drone. It actually is. It's a really impressive piece of kit. Ah, it's better. Oh, God. I'm getting little micro fail-safes. That, I was not in control of that. I was not in control of that either. What the hell's happening? Weird, man. Oh, man. Come on now. Why, Teddy? Why you wreck my shit, dude? You little jerk. Oh, man. I'm not convinced this is Teddy. This might have been an Azalea thing. Ah! I've never had this here before. I like it already, though. So you can go in the side. And out the top. I had this one over here, like right here. And so what I really wanted to do was a bunch of these and then into the other gate, but apparently someone was unhappy with me having gates upstairs. See if I can pull that off. That's pretty fun. Let's try it again. Oh! That was a hard hit, actually. Man, it is wild flying up here. I haven't been flying up here all that much. Oh, God! Oh, that was a big one. Jeez. I haven't flown up here much, and I forgot how much different it is with so much vertical space. Uh-oh. I just knocked over a thingy. Oh, no! Dead cat tried to get me. Little tree down. Ah! Oh, so close. Oh, no! Man. The Ciotti, the fucking Ciotti loop is just my favorite. It's just the most satisfying shit ever. Okay. We are warmed up. And by we, I mean me. Here we go. Here we go. Stoffel says, you know you're a drone influencer when you have a gate on your dinner table. We never use that dinner table. Gets used for like writing stuff down more than actually eating. All right, here's an old battery. Let's see how bad it is. Let's see how bad it is. Nah, it's good. 4.23. Great. We going back upstairs, god damn it. Oh, look at that. Oh! Couch tried to get me. Oh, shit. Oh, balls. Ooh, I'm very disoriented all of a sudden. Oh, man. See, like that would have fallen right in. No! Wow, I actually did not. I was lost. I was completely lost. The fact that it went back through that gate is the most ridiculous thing ever. Oh, I really like having that gate there. Oh, boy. Hey. I really like having this gate here. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's hot! Uh-oh. The only problem with having this gate here is this water bowl right here. But I've had most of these TinyWhoops fully submerged in fresh water, and they've survived. You just put them in front of a fan for 24 hours, and all is right with the world. Oh, Maggie's not in there. I wonder where she is. She got a call at 8, I know. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Will he make it? Will he make it? I made it. Oh. Close. What's the, how's the video quality look up there? I'm using the ultra shitty but ultra lightweight but long antenna on this with no ground plane. If I had time, which I knew I wouldn't, I wanted to try out those ORT antennas tonight, but I knew that wasn't going to happen. Fresh old battery. Let's see how it is. This might be the last battery. Thanks for hanging, friends. CiottiFPV.com to support me. Yeah. Appreciate you guys. As always. Old battery. Let's see what's what. Oh, God. Not really sure what I hit there. Dog is going ballistic upstairs. Let's investigate. Hey, Spaghetti! What are you doing? You coming down? He's coming down. Let's chase him. Man, he's fast. You're a fast little dog. You got a toy in your mouth so you can't bite me? I like that. Hey, buddy. The miniaturist schnauzer of all the miniature schnauzers. Oh! Get out of there. No, no, no. Get! Oh! I didn't think I was going to make it. Oh, look at him coming over. Oh, I hit the boom arm on the cymbal stand. Where is he? Oh, there he is! There he is! Mr. Big Tough Stuff when it's on the ground. Oh! Teddy, relax with that. You're only going to hurt yourself. It's going to get tangled up in that beard, brother. It ain't going to go well for you, Teddy. You just... This is not a game that you should be playing, buddy. Whoa! What a good dog, man. Ow! Uh-oh. Oh, here he's got. I can't believe it hasn't got hung up in his beard yet. There he goes, there he goes! Oh boy, this battery's shot. We'll do one more. Having too much fun. Great video quality, huh? Shit, man. Why buy expensive antennas? Just take shitty linear dipoles and Hack them to bits. I wonder what the VTX is set out on. I wonder if it's 25 milliwatts. Probably is, if it looks good. Small dog. Hello. Let's take a look. VTX is at 25 million watts. Come on. Oh. 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 Too slow, buddy. Too slow. Oh, what? I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do, so I chose to smash into all the things. That was weird. That was awkward. Oh! I did not expect you to be there, buddy. Oh, shit, man. That could have been face first. Oh, hi. Hi, little dog. I love you. Oh! Hey, oh, God! No! No! Get out! Oh, boy. Yep. Oh, the smoothness! You can't get that from any other live streamers right there. Oh my god. I missed it. I missed the gate, man. I was lined up, but I just didn't get enough elevation. Oh, I really tried to cheat that. And it just barely touched the curtains. Oh, really? Really? Come on now. Don't do me like that, drum set. Thank you. Now I'm just instigating. Oh, hi, buddy. Oh, I got a little bit lost in that split S. Look at him. Hey, little dog. What you doing? Ah! Oh, that's battery's done. I mean, there's only one more battery in the charger, so let's do it. What the hell? It's only 1020. Last one, friends. Fly your 6 batteries as well. Don't let it just be me. Let's all get better together. Let's all get better and have fun together. I'm going to split this one up. We'll do some upstairs. We'll do some downstairs. Whoa. Oh! Oh! Oh, God! Oh, I'm not going to be able to get out of there. Fuck you! Oh. Shame, 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 shame. Oh, sorry, buddy. God, you can't walk right in front of my shins, homie. Gotta have a little bit of self-preservation. Jesus, I kicked him right in the snout. Careful, doggo. Alright. This thing's looking fine. These props are getting beat, though. Alright, let's just get a couple of these little hairs out of here. Okay. Ah! Here we go. Ooh! Those light lightning quick reflexes. Holy shit. Ow! Wasn't lightning quick enough. I'm actually trying to fly good tonight rather than, like, talking through the whole thing. Shit. He says as he crashes like a buffoon. Oh, what was that? I legitimately don't know what I just hit. Come on. Come on. There we go. Oh my god, look at that throw! See, like, that level of momentum, I don't know if the 17-gram builds will really do that. I don't know if they'll throw that far across the room like that. That might be what the Ultimate Freestyle TinyWhoop at 18-point-something grams does better than the 2024 lightened up. Oh, you filthy motherfucker, you! Oh, you can't tell me you didn't dig that one. Try it again. Anybody can do anything once. It's the second time. Ah, I bailed. The table was coming up fast. I didn't... Oh, no! Oh, shit. That was a hell of a hit. Oh, my God. That was nasty. I need to bring... It makes it way easier if I don't just... Like, it looks way cooler when I just stare at the ceiling the whole way around, but then, like, at the very last second, I have to spot the landing. It makes it a lot easier to... this battery's done. It makes it a lot easier to stare at the ceiling a little bit less. And then... And then, yeah, spot the landing, basically. Oh, no! Oh. I haven't done that move much. I gotta spend more time with that one to get it locked down. What the fuck? Yeah, I gotta do this one more. Oh, shit! Yikes. No, no, no! Oh my god. I wish that was on purpose. That would have been cool. Oh, this battery's done. Huzzah. Thanks for hanging, my friends. My name's Aaron Ciotti. Everybody calls me Captain Donkey Face. Head on over to CiottiFPV.com to support me. This is a totally crowdfunded thing we got going on here. I appreciate you guys very, very, very much. I'll see you on Friday. I won't see you on Sunday, though. No stream on Sunday. There will be one on Friday, as long as, like, I'm not completely screwed over with, like, no working rigs. But I'll be okay. I have the 2 regular DJI rigs that are totally fine, so I'll see you Friday at 7 o'clock Eastern Time. What can I play? What can I play you out with? Oh, yeah, I'll play you out with the 75mm Walksnail rig ripping around at the Lululemon gig I had last week. Just kind of farting around. Same thing I played in the intro, but the next battery. This is what Beta FPV 1102 22,000s fly like on 1610 biblades and a Walksnail 75mm rig. They're the best motors I've run so far, but I have some other ones coming that might be even better. Be good, friends. Bye-bye. See you Friday. Why is the outro song not playing? It's because I have it turned down all the way. Yeah. See you guys Friday.